Welcome to Life Her Podcast, the podcast that guides you from the 9-to-5 grind to the freedom of your own path. Discover how to conquer life's challenges while pursuing your passions with unwavering faith. Because being an entrepreneur is not easy. So let's get to it.
Hey everyone, I am Yvette Lloyd, host of Life Her Podcast. We have an amazing guest with us tonight, and I am excited to even have this conversation with her. Sometimes when you go through things in life yourself, you forget that other people are going through things or you don't have no idea. And this is one of the situations for me personally. And I am honored to have someone with that embodies resilience, and she is a powerhouse publicist and full-time entrepreneur who has worked with top-tier outlets like the New York Times, Forbes, and more, curating the campaigns and have generation of different things that she have going on in her business and in her personal life. But 150 million media impressions that she do have. But Lindsey's journey hasn't been easy. At 27, she was diagnosed with stage 5 Hodgkin's lymphoma and facing the 6 during like months of chemotherapy. And through it all, she has continued to run her business, showing us what it means to thrive even though through the storms. I would like to welcome Lindsey. Hey girl.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. I appreciate you. And thank you so much for being on my show. This is the first time, and we've known each other for years, though.
Yeah, I was thinking that as we were backstage, so I'm super excited to be here.
Yes, I'm excited too. So, first and foremost, I want to talk about your life before you actually been diagnosed,
hmm
as far as you making moves and publicists, because you were busy, girl.
hmm
So, what are some of the things that you can say that you were actually doing and just shaking and moving with everything?
Yeah, it's exactly what you said. I was super busy. I was shaking. I was moving. I had a ton of clients that were in entertainment in that time. I was doing a lot of work with just a plethora of people from like authors. We were doing book tours. I had one client that had like a 6-city book tour. Another client we did some stuff around the Atlanta area, Detroit. Like I was traveling, I was going in all these spaces and places. It was a very, very exciting time in my career. And, you know, I was in the thick of it. I was like in the hustle and bustle of it all.
Wow. So when was that moment when you actually felt that something wasn't right with your health?
hmm so actually, I was sitting on the phone at home with one of my friends, and we were talking. I was laughing. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't breathe. And she was like, well, if you can't breathe, you need to go to the hospital. So I got up, I went to ER, and that was kind of how everything started. They asked me, you know, had I been in an accident? I told them yes, because 2 months prior to going to the ER, I was in a car accident. And so they were like, okay, something's blocking the front of your chest and your ribs. That's why you can't breathe. And so that started this whole spiral of trying to figure out, okay, what's going on? What exactly is the diagnosis?
Wow. So you were diagnosed with stage Hodgkin's lymphoma, and
Stage 4.
at 27
Mhm.
and still managing to run your business, can you walk us through your mindset during the time at when you was trying to keep pressing forward?
Yeah. So for me, anytime I have the opportunity to share my story, and thank you so much for letting me come on your platform, I always tell people, you know, my journey and my walk really was a faith journey and a faith walk for me. I have always been a believer in Jesus. I've always had a relationship with him, but that really took it to another level because I was left with no choice but to lean on him. And I remember being in the hospital room. It was late. Nobody was on the floor. And I got up and I literally stood and I cried out to God. And I was like, listen, I don't know what's going on or why you have me going through this. And I was like, but if I have to go through it, I need for you to hold my hand. I need for you to walk with me like you did Daniel in the lion's den, walk with me like you did Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Like, I need you to be with me. And the Lord was very faithful to me in answering that prayer. And so that was kind of like, that set the tone for the mindset that I kind of walked in with. I walked in knowing that it wouldn't be easy. I walked in knowing that there was literally a battle. In this particular case, it was a battle for my life. And I walked in knowing that if I'm going to make it through, I need some supportive people around me. My family, they were such blessings. And I was like, I need the Lord. I need the Lord. Like, that's all I knew.
Wow. I applaud you because that's a lot, especially when something just come unexpected like that. Was that something that ran in your family, or it was just like caught by surprise?
So I know that in my family, people have been diagnosed with various types of cancer. I believe, though, that I am the only one that was diagnosed with that particular lymphoma.
Okay. So how did facing cancer change the way you approach life and business? What's new perspectives did you bring?
Yeah, prior to the diagnosis, I would just go and go and go nonstop. I would be up 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I can remember being so tired and exhausted that I couldn't sleep. My body wouldn't shut down, and I would literally like cry because I couldn't go to sleep. Right. Fast forward, listen, if it is after hours, do not call me. I will not pick up the phone for you. You can text me, but if it is not an emergency, I will get back to you when I can get back to you. Even today, like I text one of my friends that I also do business with. I said, "Hey, all of this is extremely overwhelming. If you are in Atlanta, we got traffic." I was so like all over the place, just commuting. I told her like, "Hey, I need to turn my phone off. I'll respond tomorrow if it's an emergency. Email me." Like, I have boundaries in place that I did not have before.
Wow. And that helps a lot, having boundaries, because sometimes when you're sick or you going through something,
Mm,
people seem to sometimes be self-centered and think about their feelings only and not yours. And that's good that you were very vocal in communicating to help people understand what you are doing right now and how are you going to react to it, and just not the unexpected.
mhm,
And that's really good.
mhm,
So your book, Thriving Through the Storm, suggests that it's possible to find resilience in difficult times. Can
mhm.
you share some of the key takeaways from your journey that you hope readers will carry with them?
Yeah. So first of all, if anyone is listening, if anyone has grabbed a copy of Dive into the Storm, which is on Amazon, and you get it and you're going through it, understand that whether you're going through a diagnosis or you're going through a divorce or you're going through a bankruptcy or whatever it is, understand that this is something that's not happening like to you, right? A lot of times we feel like, oh my gosh, I've got this diagnosis. It's why is this happening to me? It's not happening to you, it's happening. Right. And you just so happen to be the catalyst and the vessel that it's happening through. And so understand that you are not alone. Understand that you're not the first person to go through whatever it is that you're going through. And that's not said in a dismissive way, but it's said in a way for you to understand that there's community, there's support, there are resources, there's help available to you. Don't try to go at it alone. Sometimes we can go through things and it's like, oh, this person doesn't understand because they've never been diagnosed. And so, we
Mhm.
have all of these different attitudes and mindsets, and you're going to need a positive mindset. You're going to need a faith filled mindset in order for you to have the outcome that you desire, right? Which is a positive one, which is a hopeful one, which is one where you're no longer in the current situation that you are in right now. So that's number one. Know that you're not alone. Number two, know that it's possible to thrive through something. You don't just have to survive it. You are more than a survivor. You are a thriver. You're more than a number. You're more than a statistic. You're more than any of those things. You are the one that's going to thrive should you choose to. And like, that's the most important thing that I talk about in the book, is that thriving is a choice. It doesn't matter what we endure. It matters how we choose to go through it.
Mm. That is true. And I even myself, I had to, think about certain things and how to thrive and through after the losses that I have took. And it could be rough sometimes when you are in the process of it. But knowing when you get through things is so important to advocate on that. And I'm so happy that you wrote a book about your journey so people can understand the balance of running a business, and also dealing with your health issues. What is some advice do you have for individuals that are just going through things in a personal life and balancing their health as well?
Yeah, I would say prioritize, right? You are your best and greatest investment. You are the number one priority, right?
Mhm.
Because if you are not well, your business cannot be well. If you're not well, your family cannot be well. If you're not well, things around you start to be unwell. So understand that it's important for you to take time out for yourself. You don't have to be a workaholic. You don't have to be what I talk in the book, a grindaholic. You can have a life that is filled with you enjoying it and also enjoying the work that you do, right? Because I love publicity. I love working with my clients, but my identity cannot be found in my vocation, right? As a believer, my identity is found in Christ. And after that, I decide what my hobbies are going to be. I decide what I choose to do. And so understand that you have to be your priority, and understand that you have the final factors and the final decisions. And if that means letting go of some things, let them go. If it means
Mhm.
taking something on your plate, take it on your plate. If it means getting help, seeking a support group, a therapist, a church, like whatever you need to help you along your journey. We're not called to do life by ourselves. And so we have to make sure that we have the proper system set up. And I'll say, as a business owner, I did not have that prior to. I didn't even understand what it meant to have systems, not just business systems, but also just systems within my life. So, do I need to DoorDash my groceries because it's easier for me? Do I need to have
Mhm.
someone come do, laundry? Do I need to take a break and go walk? Do I need to carve that time out in my schedule? Think about what you need to do for yourself so that you can be the best you that you can be on all ends.
Yes. So the phrase goodbye grindaholic resonates with so many entrepreneurs. Can you talk about the rules you live by to maintain balance and prevent burnout?
Yeah, it's so interesting because sometimes we think, especially when we're in conversations like this, well, once I go through this situation, I'll never go through it again, right? And things like a diagnosis, absolutely 100%. But things like burnout, they may happen again, right? But you have to understand the patterns and what's going on and why and how it happened. So it's important for you to consistently take assessments and do a life audit, right? Like figure out, okay, every quarter, what's different from last quarter? Well, how was I feeling? How am I feeling? How do I want to feel? What do I need to do so that I can either stop feeling this way and start feeling this way, or so that I can, start implementing more things into my life to become the best person that I need to become. And then understand when enough is enough. Like for the past couple of weeks, really, I would say the entire month of October, I've been working in what I like to call overtime. I've been working, just various hours. But last night, I'm like, okay, you've been working on this for this long. You need to stop, put your laptop away, stop looking at it, and pick it back up tomorrow. So know what your own limitations and boundaries are for yourself.
Hmm. As a publicist with high profile campaigns, what are some of the strategies you use to ensure your work aligns with your personal wellness?
Yeah, oh, that's a good question. That's a good question. I love that. But I would say being proactive and automating things. We are in such a tech-driven society, digital age, and world right now. I can sit here, if I wasn't on the call, if I wasn't on the podcast with you right now, I can sit and schedule my emails for 8 in the morning. Right. That means that I could go get on the treadmill at 8 o'clock when I wake up. I can go, fix breakfast, have breakfast. I can buy back my time through something like automation. I can pay attention to what's going on in the news cycle and say, hey, okay, I've identified that I need to pitch my clients here, here, and here. Let me look that up right now. Let me do that up right now. Let me use ChatGPT as a research resource, right? To make things easier for myself, for my business, and for my clients.
Yes. So how do you handle clients' expectations and the industry demands while still making time for yourself?
Yeah, sometimes it gets tough. I'll be honest. It depends on like the
Mm,
type of clients that we have, the campaigns. Like there's one project in particular that I'm working on where right now until the end of it, it's literally like all hands on deck. I've been on call, I've been on site, I've been, answering messages, multiple emails, getting back to people, like multitasking, right? So if I know that I have to be present, then I just have to be present. But once that particular timestamp clock runs out, which sometimes it may be 7 o'clock for me, sometimes it may be, at 8 p.m., so on and so forth. Once I shut it down, I shut it down. But
mm.
again, I'm going to use that email scheduler so my clients know, hey, here's the update from what we talked about. Here's the recap. Here's where we are. So it's just mainly about communicating and being as proactive as possible.
Wow. That's really good, Lindsay. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
It's not
seriously.
easy, but thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. So, what advice would you give to entrepreneurs, especially Black women who feel pressured to constantly be on the grind mode?
Yeah, I would say, and I still have to catch myself, right? Because this is an ongoing, daily, minute by minute, moment by moment thing, right? Because sometimes we can get so caught up in the rat race that we're like, okay, well, I see such and such on the gram, and I know that I've been running my company for as long or longer that she's been running hers, and why didn't I get XYZ? Or why is she working with it? Like all of these things, right? And so sometimes you have to take a step back. You have to breathe. Sometimes you have to get off of social media and you
Mm,
have to go sit. Sometimes I will literally have to sit in silence. Sometimes I just have to sit and cry and journal and praise and do all of those things. Sometimes I will know when I've had enough. I'll turn off my phone and I'll say, we're going to try this again. And so for Black women entrepreneurs, I would say this: you don't have to be the strong one all the time. You're not Superwoman. You are not built forward tough. You are a human being. And recognizing that you're a human being is not a weakness. It really is a strength because it'll make you strong enough to say, you know what? I got to back away for a second. and then I can come back refreshed and close the deal. But if you, Black woman, are not well, nothing else around you, all of that success, all of those things that you're trying to get to and accomplish, and all of that, you will get there when you get there. You cannot compare your journey to anyone else's because you don't know what they've endured and what they've been through.
That is so true. That is so true. So, in an industry that oftentimes around the clock availability, how do you communicate your boundaries with your clients and colleagues?
Yeah. So what we started to do, we have a welcome guide. We will onboard you with that welcome guide. That welcome guide has hours of operations. It has a breakdown of when you can reach out to us, when we will not be available. We will schedule your meeting time on your onboarding call to kind of ease you into the process of how we work. I'm very, very clear on how I want to work with clients. And if I feel like you are a client that is not in alignment with the culture that we established with Walker and Associates Media Group, and we're setting up now even further, we do not take everyone on as a client, because if you don't understand that, as I just said, I'm a human being and so are you, and sometimes you got to turn it off, it just may not be a fit, and that's okay.
Right. It is. So cancer is not just a physically challenge, but it's mental as well. How
Mhm.
did you cope mentally with the stress of both illnesses at work?
Um, yeah, I absolutely, as I said, had to lean on my faith. That was, I mean, I had people praying for me. I had so many people who were just standing in the gap for me. They were interceding for me. I would go into prayer for myself. I would read scriptures. I got this book by Apostle John Eckhart. It was like healing prayers and scriptures for healing, and I would read that. I would really, really just take the word back to God and believe that I was healed even before the doctors declared that I was, because I knew that God has so much more in store for me. I knew that this wasn't a detriment in my journey.
Mm. So your story is incredibly motivating to others. How has your experience with cancer influenced your approach to the purpose of the legacy in your business?
Yeah, it's something that I was just having lunch with a friend earlier today. And she was asking me, like, how are you? How are things going? Like, you don't look like what you've been through. And I'm like, it's all God, right? And for me, when I think about legacy, I think about my life. I think about the work that I've done, the work that I want to
Mhm.
do, and what I truly want to leave. And my goal is to point people to Christ and that they see Christ within me. So, however I need to show up, whichever part of my journey I need to share, I am not shy about sharing my testimony, because I know that
Mhm.
there's someone out there that's listening that's like, I needed something, and this is the something. Because if I never saw other people endure, right, and persevere, I wouldn't know that it was possible. And so it's a responsibility that I now have, to share and let people know as well, like, what's possible. And I think that for me, it's not something that you forget, right? You can't forget it. I have this thing where every time I will like get a hairstyle and I'll, see my hair in braids, and then I go and take it down, I literally like will cry, because I remember
Mhm.
like when I was bald, and glory be to God, like, this is all my hair, right? And so
Mhm.
it's the little things that you learn to appreciate, because
Mhm.
for me, it's like 6 years ago, my life looked completely different, right? I definitely did not look like this. I definitely wasn't feeling like this. I definitely did not have the stamina, and the mindset and the resilience. I didn't have it 6 years ago. So we have to remember that right now, where we are, we're walking in an answered prayer of some sort, right? And so that is important as I'm building legacy, because it's like moment by moment, just remember, right, where you were and where you are now.
Oh, yes. So, how do you hope your journey in your book, Thriving Through the Storm, will change the way people think about entrepreneurship and self care?
Yeah, I hope that people will understand that you cannot have one without the other. If you are not healthy, if you are not well, you will not have a sustainable business.
That's
You
true.
have to make sure that you are taking care of yourself. It's so important to take care of yourself. If you are the CEO, you are the CFO, you're wearing all of these hats. Well, if something happens to you, what happens to the business? Until you get to a space and a place where you have a solid team. And even then, as a visionary, you're still necessary. So understand that as an entrepreneur, your health and your wellness are necessary.
Mhm. It is necessary. And you know, sometimes people ignore the signs and they just try to keep going and they end up getting themselves burnt out. And you just be like, what is going on? And you try to, like, be that friend to give them advice. And I love the fact that you use your platform with like storytelling and things of that nature. And people be needing that so much. And y'all don't know Lindsay, she is so transparent. Her work ethic is amazing. I've always loved your work ethic. You so professional.
Thank you. Yeah, we try. I believe in service and excellence, and so thank you for that. That means a lot.
Girl, yes. I always loved it. If you could go back and give your 27-year-old self one piece of advice before your diagnosis, what would it be?
I would have said, "Girl, slow down and just breathe."
Mm.
Because I was in a space where I was just so anxious to get to. I had to do this and I had to do that and I had to, this person over here, my coach said I gotta do this, and then this person, and I'm working with this, and then blah, 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 and like that was literally my brain, right? But if I had
Mhm.
slowed down and been patient with myself and understood that what is for me is for me, it will not miss me, but I have to be in a space where I'm prepared to receive all that God has for me. And if I'm not prepared, what is it all for without
Mm.
preparation?
Oh, girl, you ain't lying. So many entrepreneurs struggle with guilt of not doing enough.
Mhm.
What would you say to those who feel guilty for taking the time for themselves?
Yeah, it's me. It's me too, right? Um,
Yeah.
I think it's just you get into this space where every client is like the client, and you just want to do great, and it just wants to, and you're like, can I give more, more, more? But this is where we have to take a step back and ask yourself, are you doing what you said you would do? Are you showing up every single day doing the work? Are you seeking support as you're doing the work? Are
Mm.
you doing your follow-ups? Are you doing what's necessary? If you can say yes and you're following all the steps, just breathe. If the answer to some of those questions are no, figure out what you need to do and still breathe. You're not a magician. You can't make things happen overnight at the drop of a hat, right? And so just, it's okay. Take your time and take a break.
Yes. A break is always needed.
Mhm.
So what is one mindset shift that has made the biggest difference in helping you thrive through life storms?
I think the biggest mindset shift is no matter what I endure, I'm not by myself. The Lord is with me. And also, I'm going to be okay, because what was meant to take me out and destroy my destiny did not, right? And if
Mm.
that didn't happen, I'm okay. I'm still here. I'm still breathing. I'm still moving. I'm still working. I'm still shifting. like knowing that at the end of the day, I'm going to be okay. And I think that's something that we all, as we're navigating so many different things in today's society and this political landscape, the economy, all of these different things, like it's okay to just tell yourself that you're going to be okay.
Mm-hmm. So how do Lindsey feel today?
Lindsey feels great today. Lindsey feels amazing. I'm just in such a space of gratitude. Like I've just really been sitting and thinking, and I'll be honest, there are some things that I want in my life that I have not yet seen, right? But I've just been sitting and thinking, like, wow, God, you really, brought me back here. I'm here. I am in the best shape of my life, give or take. I still need to find a personal trainer, but all in all, right, I'm doing well, and I'm doing
Yeah.
things in a different pace and in a different way. And so Lindsey is good.
That's good. So, what do you have coming up? Do you have any special workshops, courses, anything coming
Yeah,
up?
so actually, I am hosting a webinar series. It's based on my
Oh,
second book, the Publicity Playbook. So I'll be sharing 3 secrets on making headlines in media. I'm super excited about that. We'll be doing it every Wednesday from now until at least the end of November. And we're hosting our first couple ones soon. And then also, we have a new quarterly partnerships that we've rolled out that are doing really, really well. So if anyone is interested in coming on as a publicity client, we have some really, really great flex options and ways to work together. And that's pretty much it.
okay. So, please share all of your social media handles, your website, and everything, how people can connect with you and maybe end up becoming their client as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So be sure to check me out. I am on Instagram at Lindsey A Walker. That's Lindsey A Walker. That's me on Instagram. I also have a podcast. It's geared towards publicity. So if you want to learn more, you can check it out. It's called the Publicity Club Podcast. We are on all platforms there, and our website is Walker ASSOC mediagroup.com.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Lindsey. I really enjoyed the conversation, your knowledge, your resilience. I mean, everything.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm excited we got to do this.
I'm excited too. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Life Her Podcast. You can listen to us on all social media platforms and have a blessed day.
Welcome to Life Her Podcast, the podcast that guides you from the 9 to 5 grind to the freedom of your own path. Discover how to conquer life's challenges while pursuing your passions with unwavering faith. Because being an entrepreneur is not easy. So let's get to it.